In today's video, we're going to talk about 3 interesting roles and how you can build a career in each of them. The first is game design, the second is game development, and the third is game testing. Now, all 3 are profitable careers, but they may appeal to different people depending on their skills and interests. We'll kind of unpack all of that over the next few minutes, and that should help you get started on your way. Sounds good, right? Let's get to it then. To begin with, game design and game development are 2 very different roles. You likely know this, but just in case you don't, game design is more of coming up with game concepts, mechanics, and storylines. Game development, on the other hand, refers to the actual making of the games, from animation to engine programming. In other words, game design leans more toward the creative side of things, while game development leans more toward the technical side of things. But of course, both roles are deeply interconnected, and you can't have one without the other. But it's not just that. You also can't have game development and game design without game testing. Now, the role of the game tester is a no-brainer. The name of the role kind of gives it away. However, what you might not know is that there are 2 types of game testers. There are QA testers and there are playtesters. The QA guys are more focused on the technicals, so they keep their eyes out for things like bugs and crashes, and then they type up comprehensive reports on their experiences. Pretty sweet job since you get to play the title multiple times, except of course the game is trash, and then it's hell. Then we have the playtesters. These guys are focused on user experience, so essentially, they want to find out if the game passes the vibe check. Will players enjoy playing this game? What aspects will they enjoy? What aspects are not so great? Is the game easy to learn, challenging enough to be rewarding, and other stuff? All of these questions run through the minds of playtesters as they work. Okay, so how do you become a game tester? Obviously, you've got to be a game head. That goes without saying. But this is work, so just being a fanboy isn't going to cut it. You need to step it up and get some hard skills. For instance, learn the terminologies and trends in game testing, find out about the major game studios and genres. Don't forget to try your hands on as many gaming consoles as possible, from Xbox to Nintendo to PlayStation. Next, you want to build a portfolio. Since you're just starting out, your best way in will probably be to participate in beta testing events. So, participate in as many as possible. While doing that, you want to also put together a good portfolio. Fortunately, there are loads of samples on the internet, so those can guide you. Then once you've written a good resume, it's time to start putting yourself out there. Cards on the table. As an entry-level tester, your pay is likely to be meh since you're just starting out, but it will definitely get better as you get more experience. So don't let that discourage you. Just keep doing what you love. Alright, now let's talk about game design and game development. Obviously, game development and game design require more technical skills than game testing. However, if you think about it, being a good game developer or designer in some way means you also have to be a good game tester, because you've got to be able to reverse engineer an existing game to see what makes it work. You can't exactly design or develop something you don't really understand, right? So it's not surprising that many game designers and developers start out as testers. Now, before we talk about game design, let's take a look at game development, the nerdier part of the conversation if you like. To put it simply, the bulk of your work as a game developer will involve coding and programming every single feature of the game. So, yes, a lot of work. And if you're working with a small company, that work could even get larger as they might also expect you to do the game testing. Basically though, your work will involve coding visual elements, game design ideation, ensuring the game plays well, monitoring the game performance, reviewing and improving existing code if need be, and then working with other professionals to bring the game to life. If you're considering becoming a video game developer, there are multiple ways you can go about it. Some developers will go to college to get a degree, but if that sounds like a bore, not to mention expensive, you can check out immersive bootcamps. Immersive bootcamps are a really great idea because you can cut out all the unnecessary courses and just get straight to the relevant skills you need, like coding and problem solving. But then again, some employers can be a little snobbish to those without a degree, so you may want to consider that, although there are many employers who really don't care whether you have a college degree just as long as you can deliver. Anyway, if you really want to hit the ground running after your education, it might be a good idea to start doing some game testing while you're still studying. This way, when you're done, you're not starting from ground zero. But if that's not possible for you, you can also start out your career by seeking out internship opportunities. Alright, now to game design. Game designers are very creative people by nature. After all, they have to come up with new game concepts and the like. it's a pretty rewarding but equally demanding career. So, you've got to be sure that this is something you want to do before you even venture into it. And one easy way to do that is to participate in game jams. If you're sure this is what you want to do, then get some education. One of the things you'll learn right away is that game design is not a monolithic role at all. Generally, there are two broad subdisciplines in the game design department. There's content design and there's systems design. To keep it stupid simple, content designers are the brains behind the content in a game like quests, NPCs, monsters, and the rest. System designers, on the other hand, are responsible for ensuring that all of these aspects work well together in the way that they should. That said, there are many niches under game design. We're going to mention some of them, but because of time, we won't be able to go into each one specifically. But let us know in the comments if you'd want us to do a separate video talking about that, and we could make that happen. In the meantime, niches under game design include game mechanics design, gameplay design, game combat design, game level design, narrative design, game economy design, game monetization design, technical design, game UI design, game UX design, and game balance design. Alright, let's get back to how you can become a game designer. I've talked about the need for an education. It could be a college degree or you could try out boot camps. But even while you do that, get curious. Take games, play them, reverse engineer them, and look out for patterns in different game genres. The more you do this, the more you learn how different design principles turn out when developed. In fact, this particular move is so important that some game companies literally pay their employees a small stipend every month to get games and research them through play. The next thing you want to do is to develop a design decision framework. And this is super important because you can't just come to each game and start doing guesswork or trial and error. You'll look unprofessional to your client or employer, and you'll also waste a lot of time. On the other hand, having a decision framework would also help you get to the root of design issues quickly and then recommend effective solutions to these issues just as fast. On top of that, a decision framework will also help you communicate your observations and solutions effectively, which will earn you the trust and the respect of your client or employer. And you know what happens when that happens. You get to do more and earn more. Alright, so you have a good decision framework now, but that's pretty much useless if you don't actually try your hands out on making games. This is the only way to truly learn game design and build your portfolio because theory is great, but until you've built something, you can't exactly call yourself a game designer. Now, how do you do that? Once again, game jams come to the rescue. You can try a game jam, or you could also hop on a project with your friends, do some non-code prototyping, mod games, which is great practice for content design. Or to make things interesting, you could use AI to generate code and art for your game. But in all of this, make sure to learn at least one game engine, whether it's Unity, or Unreal, or Godot, or GameMaker. Most of these guys have free tutorials and resources on their platforms, so it's not going to be that difficult getting around to that. And once you've done that, you could say you've rounded off your education for now. It's now time to show off your skills and get hired. But then again, you don't necessarily have to wait until you've ticked off literally every single step so far. If you've hit most of the milestones we just talked about and you're confident, there's nothing wrong with looking for a job right away. In fact, you'll find that looking for a job will prove to be another learning period for you. Since you're just starting out your career, it might be best, not to mention a more efficient use of your time, to target internships, junior roles, associate roles, or assistant game designer roles. As usual, the pay is going to suck at first, but with time, you'll rise through the ranks and find your path in the design world until you discover your specialty. Then you can begin to make good money. But let's take some time to talk about your first entry-level job because you want to maximize that well. If you do, you could set up your career for life. So how do you do that? Soak up knowledge like a sponge. Your employer already doesn't expect you to know much, so asking questions will not make you look inexperienced. You already are. This is why you want to ask many questions. Learn as much as you can, and network hard. Join social media sites for game design, go for design meetups, and connect. Your next big opportunity might literally just be one random text away, so don't take that for granted. Anyway, that's it, people. That's every major thing you need to know about developing a career in game testing, game developing, and game design. Now, which one of these roles is on your radar? Let us know by dropping them in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.